What is up, guys? It's Taylor here from RufandRuleMedia, and today I wanted to do something a little bit different here where I wanted to give my first impressions and thoughts about the Redfall game that came out today, made by Arcane Studios. Now, this is going to be a very different one because usually I have my stuff formulated just a little bit better than this, but I just got done playing it not that long ago, and I just wanted to kind of get a video out to let you guys know because there is a lot of baggage coming around with this kind of game, and to be honest with you, I really don't know why. I think for the most part, I think it's alright. Now, to start really off, this game really plays very similarly to a game like Borderlands or kind of like a Fallout-ish, where it's definitely a looter shooter. You get your weapons, you go shoot bad guys, numbers come out of the bad guys when you shoot them. It's very, very much what you'd expect out of a game like this, and a 4-player co-op, which I think is absolutely fine for a game like this because in all reality, you don't come in expecting much. I didn't really come in with much expectations of the game, and I mean, overall, I think the game is already fine. You know, when I start looking at the game, like graphically, there's nothing that's going to blow anybody away. It looks like an Arcane Studios game. If you've played a game like Dishonored or a game like Deathloop, you are going to kind of feel the same way. You're going to feel right at home with the art style of this game. I don't think it really strays away much. For the most part, I think it looks pretty alright. I played this on an Xbox Series S, so I'm not playing it on no high-end computer. I'm not playing it on like a huge rig or anything like that. I'm playing it from a simple Xbox Series S, which me personally, I think a lot of people might also play this on. So I might not be getting the most high-end stuff ever possible, but to me, the graphics looked well. They looked fine. I mean, it's a more cartoony game. It has cartoony visuals and it does cartoony things. You know, the bad guys look pretty generic. The vampires themselves are kind of elongated and they have these long nails and stuff like that. It's only like 6 different types of vampire looking people. There's not really much variety to them at all, but that's fine by me. I'm not really expecting a whole lot from it. I didn't expect them to have a whole lot more, but I mean, maybe adding 1 or 2 different vampires would look a little bit better. They all kind of look like Nosferatu, but like worse. Spoiler warning, just so you know. In 3, 2, 1. Story-wise, the game itself is pretty bare bones. I mean, from what I could play, I haven't delved too far into it. I'm only a couple hours in. I was doing a lot of side stuff. There is a bit of side stuff to do. The missions themselves, I mean, are pretty straightforward. It seems like go here, shoot this, collect this, bring this back. But that's pretty much how they are in all of them. And personally, I feel like if you're gonna shit on a game like this one for having repetitive missions and stuff, then you need to shit on a game like Borderlands, who also has a lot of repetitive missions. And that goes to say because Borderlands is one of my favorite franchises of all time. Continuing on with story, it really wasn't much. Like basically, government mutated this girl and now big vampires are sprouting everywhere and government trying to contain it. It's really bare bones, like what you'd see in like a sci-fi TV show, but it works for what it is. Like I said, it's not expecting much. It felt like Arcane really was trying to pull back, and that's fine. I don't think that's overly bad at all. They didn't really try to go super grandiose with this story. Like, it's just kind of fine. The characters in the story are pretty lackluster, to be honest. I really didn't know much about them. There's like your main 4 characters. I chose Remy. Remy is like she has this little robot thing named Brybun. I don't forgot. And he's kind of nice actually. He ties into the gameplay a lot, but he's just this little friend robot that walks around. But she's definitely more support of the group than anything else, and I'm fine with that. I actually like playing support. I played a lot of support when I played Overwatch and stuff. So she's definitely a little more support-wise. She's this kind of rough and tough character. She used to be a Coast Guard, and now she's coming to this, Redfall, and that's cool. So, I mean, there's not really a whole lot when it comes to the character depths. I haven't had time to delve into the other characters yet, but for right now, she seems pretty tolerable. One of the things I do like is the fact that she doesn't talk a whole lot. I know there was issues when I look at games like Forspoken and even Atomic Heart where they were talking non-stop. And I think there's always a balance in between there. And I think they do the balance pretty well. Maybe when you play with more people, the characters bounce off of each other, which I think would be really cool. I would actually really appreciate that. But by herself, she doesn't talk a whole lot, and so it just kind of, it doesn't really take away from much. Now, your side characters are, to me, they're kind of generally run-of-the-mill. I haven't really found one that stuck with me. Maybe Reverend Eva, but that's because Reverend Eva just looks different. Other than that, like, they're pretty straightforward, generic kind of characters. and that's fine from what I'm playing. The big bad in this, I don't even know what her name is. She's just a vampire and she's evil. And then there's also the one called the Hollow Man, and he is also evil. And that's all you know about him. So, but I'm not asking for world-ending characters, but hopefully there's more to him. I'd like to know how he became this Hollow Man. Overall, the story so far has been fine. I'm more interested to see more, but it's only been 2 hours, so I can't really say too much. Gameplay-wise, it's a different story. Gameplay I actually had a lot of fun with for what I played. It's, like I said, it's very much Borderlands, so it's very generically a Borderlands game. You do have your level up system, your blues, greens, purples, orange weapons. You do have the number system where you shoot enemies and the numbers come out. You have more damage depending on what weapon you choose. You have multiple different types of weapons. You know, you have your assault rifle, but then you'll have 2 different assault rifles that are basically the same. Like I said, if you've ever played a Borderlands, you've played Redfall. That's not saying it's a bad thing, no. But if you played it, it's just a more generic version. I know I'm using the word generic a lot, and I'm trying not to, but in all reality, that's the best way to describe this game. It doesn't do anything inherently bad, but it doesn't really excel at anything inherently great either. Now, this is only the first impression. This game has been out for literally 14 hours. So at the time of this recording, a lot could change during that time in the future. I'm sure we'll get new characters, new ways to play and all that other kind of stuff, and I'm really excited for that. But as of right now, that is all we really have. It's like one of those games where it's just nothing you haven't already seen before. It's just in a different body. And if you're fine with games like that, then this is going to fit right up your alley, I think 100%. If it's not, then you never know. It might not be exactly what you want, and you're just going to look past it, move on to something else. Now, my only real negative about this is something that I've noticed in the game, and I don't know if this is just a me thing, that I don't understand the game as well, or it's a game thing, but so this is also another little spoiler bit, so 3, 2, 1, whatever. But when you're playing the game and you're fighting off against a vampire, the vampires are pretty easy to beat. However, you can only kill them by throwing stakes through their heart. Now, by doing that, you have to. I'm playing on Xbox. I'm using my regular Xbox controller, so you're using the right thumbstick. Now, by using the right thumbstick, you can stab a vampire through the heart. However, sometimes I did notice that I just wasn't able to stab a vampire through the heart. If you don't do it within a time period, they will regenerate health and then come after you again, which isn't that big of a deal, especially if you're using a shotgun. But it is definitely an annoying figure because you'll have moments where I'm getting shot at by other guys. Shoot my vampire is just stunned. So they basically hits them and it puts them into a stunned state, and instead of it won't stab them. It won't allow me to stab the vampire and kill them off for good. And that part can become very, very annoying. I don't know if it's something they can just fix. I don't know if it's a bug, or I don't know if you're supposed to knock out so much health so many times. That would be really stupid. But either way, it was something that I noticed that I did not like, and it caused me to die at least once because of it. But that is really my only real negative. Anything else other than that, I'm just kind of okay with. At the end of the day, playing this game, I'm still enjoying it. I love Borderlands, so I'm actually having fun with this game. This game is just the arcane Borderlands, and I'm fine with it. I think overall, if I had to rate it out of a 10, I think it's like a 7 out of 10, maybe a 7.5 out of 10. I don't think it does anything inherently wrong, but I also don't think I could give it anything more right now. Hopefully in the future we get some more stuff, that'd be great. But I've just been seeing people online going through and lambasting this game, which in reality, I don't really know. I mean, I just feel like it's all right. And especially if you're playing games nowadays, we have a bunch of AAA games that do come out in just a horrid mess. A game that just comes out all right, for me at least, for the Game Pass, is fine. I mean, it's doing what it set out to do, and I would recommend it if you have friends to play it with. If you don't have friends to play it with, it's still an interesting time, but it does feel like a little bit less. But if you have friends to play it with, I think that's where the game really jumps. But with that being said, I'm Taylor from RufandRuleMedia. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I will talk to you all in the next one. Take care.